Stephen Fishbach, Steve Smith, Steve Redgrave. More Steve Redgrave, 1436 of 1816, the best athletes of all time, 8 of 158, the best Olympic athletes in rowing, 13 of 24 famous athletes who are dyslexic. Steve Novak. More Steve Novak, 146 of 232, the best white players in NBA history, 611 of 874, big grid relations, 206 of 222, the best Utah Jazz of all time. Steve McMichael. More Steve McMichael, 145 of 322 people who should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, 567 of 1323, the best football players ever, 20 of 144, the greatest Chicago Bears of all time. Steve McManaman. More Steve McManaman, 211 of 1310, the best soccer players of all time, 152 of 164, the best soccer players of the 90s, 14 of 135, the best Liverpool players of all time. Steve King. More Steve King, 14 of 30, the absolute worst congressional candidates for women, 10 of 19 politicians who believe in conspiracies. Steve Howe. More Steve Howe, 305 of 1728, the best rock bands of all time, 83 of 225, the greatest living rock songwriters, 81 of 639, the greatest lead guitarists of all time. Steve Gaines. More Steve Gaines, 128 of 525, which artist would you bring back from the dead to write one more song? 107 of 193, rock stars whose deaths were the most untimely, 128 of 542, the greatest guitarists of all time. Steve Spurrier. More Steve Spurrier, 39 of 83, the best Heisman Trophy winners of all time, 6 of 85, the best University of Florida football players of all time, 209 of 329, the most obnoxious athletes. Steve Largent. Steve Finley. More Steve Finley, 72 of 174, the greatest center fielders of all time, 5 of 55, the greatest Arizona Diamondbacks of all time, 70 of 109, the greatest Baltimore Orioles of all time. Steve Clark. Steve Allen. More Steve Allen, 276 of 583, the greatest entertainers of all time, 26 of 57, the best male talk show hosts in TV history, 7 of 54, the best Emmy hosts ever. Stephen Wright. More Stephen Wright, 42 of 233, the funniest stand-up comedians of all time, 141 of 339, the funniest people of all time, 6 of 22, the best male stand-up comedians of the 80s. Stephen Wilson. More Stephen Wilson, 364 of 603, the best rock Vocalists 572 of 816. These poetic geniuses wrote your favorite songs of all time. Steven Adler. More Steven Adler 69 of 532. The best drummers of all time. 11 of 13 rockers who were fired from hard partying bands for partying too damn hard. 26 of 154. The druggiest rock stars of all time. Stephen Gostkowski. More Stephen Gostkowski 6 of 85. The greatest NFL kickers of all time. 23 of 28. The oldest active players in the NFL right now. 15 of 60. The best NFL players from Louisiana. Stephen Collins. More Stephen Collins 11 of 15. All the actors who have played John F. Kennedy, ranked 50 of 100. The best musical artists from Iowa. 10 of 64. 60-plus celebrities accused of horrible crimes. Steve Smith. More Steve Smith 10 of 214. The best wide receivers of all time. 10 of 95. The best Baltimore Ravens of all time. Steve Garvey. More Steve Garvey 24 of 511. The best baseball players not in the Hall of Fame. 242 of 708. The best hitters in baseball history. 217 of 582. The greatest baseball players of all time. Steve Blake. More Steve Blake 71 of 107. The greatest Lakers of all time. 43 of 53. The best NBA players who played overseas. 30 of 57. NBA players who played for 8 or more teams. Steve Carlton. More Steve Carlton 141 of 150. Athletes you didn't know were conservative. 32 of 255. The best players in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Steve McNair. More Steve McNair 39 of 252. The best quarterbacks of all time. 25 of 80. The best NFL player nicknames. Steve Hackett. More Steve Hackett. The best Steve Hackett albums of all time. 1109 of 1355. The greatest minds of all time. 450 of 1891. The greatest musical artists of all time. Steve Angello. More Steve Angello 42 of 330. The best DJ in the world right now. 210 of 418. The most influential DJ of all time. 36 of 46. The 25-plus best EDM artists of 2018 rank. Steven Jackson. More Steven Jackson 238 of 322. People who should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. 123 of 176. The best Atlanta Falcons of all time. Steve Wozniak. More Steve Wozniak 17 of 100. The smartest celebrities. 183 of 796. Famous American inventors. List 2 of 33. 33 famous people who were teachers. Steven Van Zandt. More Steven Van Zandt 197 of 639. The greatest lead guitarists of all time. 243 of 542. The greatest guitarists of all time. 15 of 104 new American Idol judge picks. Stephen Rea. More Stephen Rea 550 of 1017 the best actors in film history 31 of 48 the best Irish actors working today 25 of 48 the best Irish actors of all time. Steve Miller. More Steve Miller 146 of 1728 the best rock bands of all time 61 of 298 the best frontmen in rock. Steve Kerr. More Steve Kerr 142 of 150 athletes you didn't know were conservative 251 of 786 the top NBA players of all time 22 of 232 the best white players in NBA history. Steven Stamkos. More Steven Stamkos 19 of 191 the best current NHL players 60 of 502 the best NHL players of all time 8 of 50 the most likable players in the NHL today. Steve Young. More Steve Young 2 of 107 college and professional athletes who were raised Mormon 10 of 252, the best quarterbacks of all time 961 of 1816 the best athletes of all time. Steve Van Buren. More Steve Van Buren 213 of 1323 the best football players ever 81 of 206 the best NFL running backs of all time 31 of 146 the best LSU football players of all time. Stephen Moore. Stephen Malkmus. More Stephen Malkmus 180 of 225 the greatest living rock songwriters 119 of 178 the best solo artists who used to front a band. Stephen R. McQueen. More Stephen R. McQueen 76 of 146 the best Hallmark Channel actors 132 of 188 the hottest men of 2021. Ranked 76 of 115 the best Hallmark Channel actors and actresses under 40. Stephen Gerrard. More Stephen Gerrard 21 of 1310 the best soccer players of all time 91 of 164 who's the best player in the Premier League 2 of 17 the best players in MLS. Stephen Dorff. More Stephen Dorff 83 of 90 who is the coolest actor in the world right now 167 of 258 the best Marvel movie actors ever 24 of 25 the 25 best comic book villain movie performances of all time. Steve Borden. More Steve Borden 60 of 86 the best WWE superstars of the 80s 11 of 69 the best WWE superstars of the 90s 16 of 175 the greatest WWE superstars of all time. Steven Seagal. More Steven Seagal 18 ludicrous stories about Steven Seagal 787 of 904 celebrity death pool 2020 161 of 149 the all-time greatest action stars. Stephen Baldwin. More Stephen Baldwin 25 of 41 celebrities who are born-again Christians 20 of 28 celebrities who wrestled in school 36 of 51 20 famous people who converted religions. Stephen Amell. More Stephen Emile 239 of 264 the best male actors working today 1733 of 2443 the most influential people of all time 48 of 87 celebrities who should be A-listers. Steven Soderbergh. Or Steven Soderbergh 44 of 249 the greatest living directors, ranked 128 of 743 the greatest directors in movie history 32 of 33 the greatest Oscar acceptance speeches of all time. Stephen Fry. More Stephen Fry the best Stephen Fry books 141 of 233 the funniest stand-up comedians of all time. Steve McQueen. More Steve McQueen 5 of 39 the very best black directors, ranked 43 of 59 2019 Golden Globes biggest snubs. Stephen Stills. More Stephen Stills the best Stephen Stills albums of all time 153 of 603 best rock vocalists 268 of 739 the best singers of all time. Stephen Sondheim. More Stephen Sondheim the best musicals by Stephen Sondheim 569 of 1355 the greatest minds of all time 196 of 816 these poetic geniuses wrote your favorite songs of all time. Stephen Root. More Stephen Root 10 of 1818 actors who always make bad movies better 15 of 15 people from TV and film you didn't realize are still acting regularly 12 of 16 every actor who's played or voiced the Penguin, ranked. Stephen Merchant. Or Stephen Merchant 10 of 26 the most epic celebrity lip-sync battles, ranked 10 of 18 Hollywood reacts to the 2020 Oscar nominations 36 of 194 celebrities who identify as atheists. Stephen Yeun. More Stephen Yeun 71 of 90 the best Korean actors of all time 7 of 60 the best Asian American actors and actresses in Hollywood 3 of 10 who will win Best Actor at the 2021 Oscars. Steve Earle. More Steve Earle the best Steve Earle albums of all time 86 of 225 the greatest living rock songwriters 330 of 356 musicians who belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Steve Guttenberg. More Steve Guttenberg 339 of 595 American public figures who are national treasures 150 of 600 every person who has hosted Saturday Night Live 22 of 29 actors who have played Santa Claus. Steve Vai. More Steve Vai the best Steve Vai albums of all time 567 of 1728 the best rock bands of all time 13 of 639 the greatest lead guitarists of all time. Steve Irwin. More Steve Irwin 21 photos of Robert Irwin that would make his father, Stephen Irwin, proud 9 of 753 people. We wish we're still alive 15 of 403 famous role models we'd like to meet in person. Stephen Moyer. Or Stephen Moyer, 11 of 22 famous people you never realized are British. Ranked by how surprised you were when you found out 124 of 287 275 plus celebrities with twin children, 437 of 466 celebrities you didn't know use stage names. Steve Perry. Or Steve Perry, 3 of 603, the best rock vocalists, 31 of 739, the best singers of all time, 26 of 316, the greatest singers of the past 30 years. Steve Aoki. Or Steve Aoki, the best Steve Aoki albums, ranked 23 of 61. The best EDM artists of 2015 of 330, the best DJ in the world right now. Steve Harvey. More Steve Harvey, 553 of 904 celebrity death pool, 2021, 66 of 131, the most annoying TV hosts. Steve Coogan. Or Steve Coogan, 337 of 339, the funniest people of all time, 195 of 239, the greatest British actors of all time, 26 of 173, the funniest British and Irish comedians of all time. Steve Zahn. Or Steve Zahn, 680 of 1883, the greatest actors and actresses in entertainment history, 88 of 138, who do you wish would guest star on The Muppet Show, 41 of 50 male celebrities who are 5'7". Steve Winwood. More Steve Winwood, the best Steve Winwood songs, the best Steve Winwood albums of all time. Stephen Hawking. More Stephen Hawking, 22 things you didn't know about Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking issues terrifying warning about artificial intelligence. Steve Nash. More Steve Nash, 419 of 1816, the best athletes of all time, 24 of 786, the top NBA players of all time, 5 of 161, the best NBA players with no championship rings. Stephen Curry. More Stephen Curry, 177 of 188, the hottest men of 2021, ranked 149 of 242, the hottest men of 2019, ranked. Steve Jobs. More Steve Jobs, 28 things you didn't know about Steve Jobs. How Steve Jobs and Bill Gates went from friends to bitter enemies. Steve McQueen. More Steve McQueen, the best Steve McQueen movies, 26 of 163, the greatest Western movie stars. Steve Buscemi. More Steve Buscemi, the best Steve Buscemi movies, 47 of 264, the best male actors working today, 75 of 1017, the best actors in film history. Stephen Colbert. More Stephen Colbert guests you hope to see on Late Show with Stephen Colbert, 156 of 269, the most trustworthy celebrities in the world, 95 of 233, the funniest stand-up comedians of all time. More Stephen King, the all-time greatest works of Stephen King. What Stephen King has said about the movie adaptations of his work. 90 of 1172, the best writers of all time. Steve Martin. Or Steve Martin. 27 of Steve Martin's funniest tweets, the best Steve Martin movies of all time. Ranked 159 of 310, the coolest actors ever. Steve Carell. More Steve Carell details from Steve Carell movies that remind us why we love him. The best Steve Carell movies. Steven Spielberg. More Steven Spielberg, the best Steven Spielberg movies, behind-the-scenes stories from E! The Extraterrestrial. 952 of 1355, the greatest minds of all time. Steven Tyler.
Hey guys, thank you so much for the support and likes and comments down below, and also thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Then take care, bye.